Good morning and welcome to our daily live podcast here from the Paris 2024 Olympics. I have two very special guests, but I am your host, Vanessa Lee. First of all, Virginie Chenier of Team Canada and now Olympian. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming. And also Simon Fairweather, Sydney 2000 gold medalist.
Good morning.
Good day.
G'day.
So let's get right into it. Virginie, you had an opportunity to shoot on the finals field. What was that like?
A little bit nerve-wracking, but try to soak in every moment and just enjoy being there. And yeah, it was fun.
And it's a really unique experience where, your match is in front of everybody rather than, everybody shooting at the same time. Was that interesting for you?
Yeah, I kind of like that format better. So I wish every tournament was like this. I know it would be very time-consuming, but I think it's just the pressure is on and you just got to go for it. And everyone's just watching, and it's more interesting that way.
Yeah. Would you say that you enjoyed your Olympic experience?
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. Well, Korea has won their third gold medal here. Are we on track for Rio when they won both gold individually?
It's looking good, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
and we were just looking at the correlation between the ranking in the mixed teams and where they finished. And the only one that didn't finish where they had ranked was India, in the top four, which sort of, in context of our discussion before about, if qualifying first means you don't win the Olympics, that sort of the kiss of death of ranking first. Yeah. Maybe that's getting that's changing. Maybe now, if the mixed teams was able to finish where they ranked, Wu Jin's looking good for a medal.
Yeah.
And that would be that'd be huge, wouldn't it? 3 gold medals at a games.
For sure.
For in the men anyway, it hasn't happened before.
Well, it has, and the only time it has was in Tokyo with Ensen. It was a historic, the first time that mixed team was even introduced. So it was a historic event. But now it's almost, it's looking like that could happen twice. Even, what do you think, V?
I mean, it's been very superstitious of us, of course.
A little bit, yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, we can be looking potentially at new history. So far, they've won the 2 gold medals for mixed teams. So maybe now that's what we're going to be talking about for the next few games. The women's team, it's going to be, they've won every mixed team medal so far. So maybe it's just going to be a new,
Maybe go 10 more of them, huh?
Yes.
So true. When we're all kind of old and struggling to...
Older.
But let's talk about Germany. Michelle Kroppen, Florian Unruh, they looked so solid out there. They were, shooting really strong matches throughout. It seemed like they were upsetting everybody, but then when we looked at the rankings again, they were in second. Could you have predicted that they would have been, silver medalists?
They probably weren't my top pick for the silver medal, but honestly, if you look back at the season, the women's team did so good at the World Cups, and the men have always been strong, and Florian's a really good shooter. So yeah, when you think about it, they weren't out of the race and they did so good.
A really beautiful moment for me was right after they came off the podium after winning their medal or being awarded their medal. Lisa Unruh had just called in and she was on the screen, and it was just so beautiful because they both have such a relationship with Lisa. I mean, Michelle has shot with her for years, and of course Florian is married to her. I asked him in the press conference after, Lisa has 2 Olympic medals, a silver individually and a bronze for a team. Do you feel like you could finally go home with your head held up high? And he said, he didn't feel the pressure, but now it's kind of nice that they both do have Olympic medals. Did you enjoy watching, especially Florian, when he was trying for silver?
He shot very, he was really solid through the match. I mean, I know that they were starting to pop a few 8s out here and there. And it was kind of hard to watch, not just their match, but there was a few matches at the end of the competition where people were like, oh, they're going to do it. They're going to, oh, there goes the 8, So pretty much everybody except the Koreans again were doing that. And yeah, Florian, he was. I think he was the more solid of the two yesterday.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure it's not always like that, but yesterday I think he was really holding it together and fully deserved the silver.
Yeah. Well, maybe Michelle is saving it for her individuals.
Yeah, both still. Well, she's still in the race, isn't she? So
Yeah, exactly. But a woman who is not still in the race, and it was kind of her final last straw or hope for an Olympic medal, was my girl Casey Caulfield, world rank #1. She was so emotional, and
really
it was
emotional. Yeah.
It was just, you could read everything on her face. Do you know Casey? And when you're going to tournaments, have you ever had experiences talking with her?
Yeah, I've shot against her a few times. So far, things have not gone my way.
Okay.
But yeah, she's always super happy and like really dedicated to her shooting and her training. So it was really nice to see. Like the emotion just came flooding, and yeah, it was. I think I got goosebumps just watching it. It was just such a happy moment for her, and she was out early in the individual. Women's team didn't go her way, so this was like her last chance for her medal for these games. And yeah, it was just so good, and Brady was just as happy for her, happy for himself for sure, but just like finally,
They seemed like they had a good dynamic too, didn't they?
Yeah.
Like almost like, I feel like Casey was a little bit on edge in the other matches before the mixed, just because high expectations and here it is, the Olympics, and it's right here now kind of thing. Her normal flow with the way she shoots seemed to be a bit off before that, but I think it looked like with Brady there was just that little element of comfort of having someone who was so experienced in the corner right with her, and I think she sort of smoothed out a bit and shot better for her.
Yeah. They've been shooting together for so many years now. I think her first mixed team match with Brady was when she was 16.
Yeah, right.
And they won a bronze at a World Cup. And Brady's actually her hero. But can you imagine shooting the Olympics with your hero? Not only that, and now standing on the podium. I think that's such a beautiful story.
Yes, very much. Like, it's crazy when you think about it. Like, you grow up watching other archers shoot, and then you get to shoot with them and be on the podium and share this moment. Like,
One
it's
of
just
those
so
pinch
good.
yourself moments.
Yeah.
Like, is this
Like,
real?
yeah.
This is
Yeah.
Am I
thinking
really
back,
here?
wow. Yeah.
Yeah. What I really love is their dynamic, though. Brady, you can tell how much warmth and care he has for Casey. And on Casey's end, you can see how much she really, really, loves and appreciates him, but is also, stepping up. She's not only this 16-year-old shooting her first international match with her hero, she's now world ranked #1, Casey Caulfield. She's ranked higher than Brady is now in the world, right? And so now it's such a beautiful dynamic where they're both feeding off of each other and both helping each other. It's nice to see.
Mm-hmm.
for sure.
Yeah. Even when they're waiting to go out to get their medals, this was my favorite moment of the day. I was taking photos and videos of everybody there. But there was a moment where, from the distance, Brady and Casey were just kind of putting their heads together and looking down. And it just makes me emotional because nothing was said in that moment. But it was both understood, like, we did it. Like, we're here. You can just tell that they really care about each other and they're really proud of themselves in that moment.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So let's move on. Today is not about mixed team anymore. It's a big, big day. So what do we have going on?
Yeah, lots of like they started now, haven't they? 10 minutes. They're into it. So yeah. So 3 Korean men. Women
That's right,
in the final 16.
Yeah.
That's a big chunk of that. 2 Indian shooters amongst them as well. That's a big chunk of the. So there's 5 of the 16 just in 2 countries. All people with good chance, I think, amongst all the rest. And then, as you say, Michelle's.
Yeah. And then you got
Busy.
Lisa, crowd favorite.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's
probably.
going to be a big match, isn't it? I'm looking forward to seeing that.
Yeah.
Yeah. For Michelle Kroppen, she got a podium in mixed team. What does that do for her individually?
Well, it might take some of the nerves away, and also that sort of desperation of, you know, like, I've got to make this work. It's like, I've already got a prize, and now I'm going for bonus. Like
bonus, yeah.
Yeah, bonus.
I love that. It
And,
really
and,
takes
and that
pressure
can really
off.
help, I think, you know, like a bit like, you know, having a team round, well, the normal team round beforehand or after, whichever way it's scheduled. Yeah, if you've already got a prize, then it's totally like you feel like you're going for bonus. I think.
Yeah, and having shot all the way to the medals too, she got more exposure to the stage,
Exactly.
more shots. So
Yeah, a bit of instant familiarization.
Yeah.
Because you forget, you know, like you can compete at that level event, but the longer the time between that and you doing it again, the more you forget, or less comfort you get from having done it. So if it's yesterday, it's like, you know, we all shoot competitions and then think after the competition's finished, I wish we could be shooting today because I feel like I'm ready now.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, what the heck?
Because it was just yesterday. And,
Yeah.
you know, a week later, it's not quite the same. 2 weeks later, it's not the same. So
That's what
Yeah.
Gabby Schlusser said. She just said one more end. I wish
Yeah.
I could have one more end.
that's right. So yeah, having shot the mixed yesterday, I think that'll definitely help.
Yeah. Well, I'm just hearing that the match with Li Jiaman from China against Alejandro Valencia is now 5-3. Two big names here.
Which way? 5-3.
5-3 for Li Jiaman. Yeah.
oh, okay.
And Alejandro was one of my favorites. I've been predicting that she was going to podium or even win the gold medal. We'll have to see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Shoot
think
off or bust.
I think that was also one of my expectations. I mean, Valencia just delivers when it matters, and
Exactly.
yeah, she just knows what to do. She knows how to handle the nerves, and she's really strong.
Yeah, very matter of fact about it too, isn't she? Like,
Yeah.
she doesn't be very much in her emotion or anything. She just gets on with it.
I guess these were all bonuses, right? Because they did medal as a team for women, weren't able to for mixed team, which felt like a big loss for everybody. And I think this was her last hope. But she does have that experience. Unfortunately, struggling right now. We'll have to wait and see what happens, right? Oh, they're going to shoot off. That's what I
Nice.
just heard. Okay, well, we'll wait and see what happens. Jeez, that's going to be a big one. Who else is kind of standouts for you? Who are you going to be looking out for today in the women's individual?
I think for me, Lisa, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I've shot on the stage. The crowd was a little bit on my side as well.
Nice.
The stands were not full.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're so behind you, and they cheer your name and they chant. And
Yeah.
for her, like, it's such an advantage, I feel, just to know that people, like, whatever you shoot, good arrows or bad arrows, they just want you to do so good. So you take that energy and you can definitely use it to your advantage. So yeah, and Lisa as well, you know, they medaled at World with the teams, and yeah, I think she definitely has it within her. And then Lim, of course, probably my top pick for gold, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, well, let's go in a bit deeper into that feeling of shooting on that stage, because what a unique experience you've had with one of the biggest crowds we've ever seen in archery, right? Tell us about that.
Yeah, I shot the evening session on the third day, so almost the very last match.
Yeah.
I was looking at the previous days, you know, it was so hot during the afternoon. The crowd, like, the stands were not quite as full, but during the evening, like, people came back and the energy was really good. And then on my day, I think the day just ran a little long, so the stands weren't quite as full, but the energy was still there. And I think it's great. Like you mentioned too, if you shoot the next day, you still have that energy and you can learn from it. And for me, because I shot on the third day, it was kind of a new experience. It had been like a week since I last shot the familiarization session. So it was still like, oh, right, this is what it feels like to be standing here, and it takes a few seconds to, like, get used to it. And the matches go so fast. Like, you don't get your own
I
arrows.
was going to
Like,
ask you about that. Like, was it, like, gone, finished?
very much. Like, you shoot, you turn, you drink water, you look back, you're like, okay, they're done. I need to pick up my bow. I need to go back and shoot again. It's like, oh, I just shot 3 arrows. What happened? Yeah, so for me, you know, first Olympics, like, first then a little bit all over the place. Like, eights, but like all over. It's like I don't know what to do with my sight. I'm just gonna go into the second end and shoot again. Thankfully, I was able to come back with a 30, so that felt really good. The crowd was like cheering so much, and then just it happened so fast, and then the third and fourth end just didn't go my way. It felt a little shaky, and it's hard to like learn from what the arrows that you just shot and then go again, but it just happened so fast.
How did you find the stadium? I mean, we've been speculating all week about what the wind is doing and how it's affecting the archers, and are they just aiming in the middle, or are they picking different spots every arrow? Or I mean, how did you find it? It's
definitely different from the practice range that's right behind it. It's more of a tunnel wind when you're on the final stage. In the evening, the wind is definitely not as much as a factor. I think it affects you on the line, so it's just staying.
It was blowing the bow around.
Yeah, but it doesn't really affect the arrow. So I think the goal for me was just to have a strong shot and then keep my sight in the middle for that. Yeah. My first day with the familiarization, we shot at 11 in the morning. It was definitely windier. You definitely had to aim off for that. Okay. So right now, I don't know what the conditions are on the field.
On the left or right on the field?
It's a little bit swirly.
Were you target 1 or 2?
Oh, I was target 1.
Target 1. Mm-hmm. Okay.
The whole time, like both sessions were target 1, and my match was also target 1.
Because we were wondering also whether the target 2 seemed to be the target where bows were moving around a lot more. Like, you don't like to say, that target is the one that's harder to shoot, because it sort of implies that people on the other target are getting an easy road. But often we see a target, particularly in final stages like this, like a World Cup stage, a final venue or something like that, where there's just 2 targets. And often at those, because of the interesting places they're held, there's a target that everybody says, you don't want to shoot on target 2. It's it's got a swirly wind, or it's out, not sheltered or whatever. So, having said that, from where I was sitting in the stands, I kept thinking that the target 2 was the worst of the 2. Mm. Maybe not yesterday, because the wind changed. For the first time in the week, we've had wind coming from left to right yesterday, where all week it's been coming right to left. Yeah. And which is strange. You would think that the right-hand target would be more sheltered, being closer to the stand, but
no.
What's interesting is also how the information is shared amongst archers. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't think there's a lot of, trying to keep a secret and things like that. Even behind the scenes, you see archers just reflect or sharing what they've experienced after they just come off, which is really nice to see. Everyone's just about, let's all shoot at our best. And whoever's going to be the best while everyone is shooting well is going to be the winner.
Mm. Yeah, for sure.
So I just heard that Alejandra Valencia won the shoot-off.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. It's a huge win. I mean, her Olympic dreams are still alive for individual. We'll have to see if she can do it. I mean, you go back to London, and Alejandra was the only of the Mexican archers that wasn't on the podium. So without a doubt, she's hungry for that individual medal. Yeah. Yeah. What about Deepika, though? Speaking of hunger for an Olympic individual medal, right?
Yeah, we were wondering yesterday too that if the Indian team medalled, it would take some pressure off of her. India not having had an Olympic medal yet, so.
But she wasn't even on the mixed team.
Yeah, but just the fact that India would relax a bit. We've got a medal, Yeah. And stop leaning on her as much. So
true.
They didn't quite get there. It was so close. It looked like they were going to,
Yeah.
But now it's back to the spotlight back on her. So that'll make it harder.
Yeah. Is she one of the big contenders for you as well, V?
She wasn't necessarily on my list for top contenders for a medal, but I know the pressure on the Indian team is just insane.
Immense.
Like all season, I could hear if they had a bad performance, they're not necessarily having a good time after with the staff and everything. And I remember watching her documentary on the Netflix when it came
Ladies
out.
First, right?
Yeah, that was really good. And you just have to live up to that pressure. It's not necessarily a pressure that's helping you, and the fact that they can just perform well with that on them is just really impressive.
But why is it that it's not helping you? What does that pressure do to an archer?
Well, sometimes the pressure, you feel the support behind it, whereas in their case, maybe it's just we're just trying to prove to you that we can do this, and it's not necessarily a good thing all the time.
Simon, did you feel the pressure being at home? Because that could either be a lot of support or it could feel a little bit more of a weight.
During the actual event, I felt the support from being at home.
Okay.
In the lead up, which is obviously a lot longer than the event itself, I felt the pressure all the way, like the whole time from when we started training for the event to when we were finally there. It was a lot of pressure, from media and speculation from them, and just knowing that people have those conversations about how much money does it cost to have a gold medal or to have an athlete at that event. There's always someone who's not a sport fan, who's maybe when they're sort of balancing, what's more important, the arts or sport, and how much money spent on this, and people do calculations and say it's going to cost this much to have that athlete at the start line, and they reflect on it and say, okay, we won this many gold medals and we spent this amount. That means every gold medal cost this much money.
Oh my goodness.
Like, it doesn't work like that. There's people who are employed in the sports academies and stuff that are doing their normal job that is being included in that calculation. But that's the kind of pressure that you is being aimed at you in that lead up. So I think everyone who is training for a home Olympics will always get that. So I can imagine what the French team have been training through, going up to this stage. Like, it's tough. It keeps you honest. Like, there's no backing off in training because the event's coming fast. But yeah, it's hard. However, once we got there and you've got the crowd behind you and so on, now it's just honest support, and that's much better. And it was good.
In past days, Audrey, who's also our guest, she was talking about that lead up, and she was saying it really was so much pressure. And now it's kind of D-Day for Lisa, isn't it? And she didn't perform well in the mixed team. It was a beautiful performance individually in her, 132nd and 116th round. I had never heard a crowd so loud for a female individual in not a medal match.
Or an athlete lap it up so much. Like, she was just going with it.
Yeah. So now I wonder if she will be able to turn that pressure into something that really feeds her, or she'll feel more of the support.
Yeah. Will she pick up where she left off and just, be really enjoying it? Or has she had time to reflect, and will there be slightly a different mindset? That'll be interesting to see.
I know you must be very much in your own, mindset and focusing on what you're doing. But have you had any interactions with some of these athletes that you've crossed paths with behind the scenes, in the athletes area?
A little bit, yeah. We chat with each other, and I talked to Gabby a little bit, and the Dutch women. We were at a training camp in Holland before we came to Paris, and for one of the days that we were there, we went to their training facility and we trained with them. But yeah, we do talk about like expectations and everything that's surrounding that. And yeah, it's interesting to see like their point of view, our point of view, and like the support that they have, the support that we have. Like, it's so different from country to country as well. So, and some countries are expected to win, some are just happy to be there. So it's definitely a different dynamic.
All right, guys. So now it's crunch time. Gonna put you both on the spot. Top contender for the Olympic gold medal.
I hate this, don't you?
And that's why I'm doing it, Simon.
Being Mr. No Gambling. I still like Lim for it, I think.
Yeah. Virginie?
Same. Yeah. I mean, she's just been so strong this season.
Yeah.
And I don't recall the result of the third World Cup, but she won the first two, and she's just, she's amazing.
Yeah. This is Chef's joke. Got to give credit where credit's due, but we're going to go out on a limb there and say that it might be Lim. I feel the same way. It's like nothing has phased her, from qualifications to her matches to women's team, mixed team now. And when she was ready to go out to get her medal, her and Kim Woo-jin were talking about their technique and what had to improve for their individuals.
Already like taking
Exactly.
notes and like this is what we need to do for the next like
Yeah.
couple days.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, he mentioned something about her front arm that she maybe tries a little bit too hard when it's not going to be a good shot. So to be able to let go of that a little bit, we'll see if she can do it today. Yeah. So we'll have to see if Lim Shi-hun can do it. Thank you so much for joining us, and also thank you to our guests. We'll see you on the field, and we'll see who can do this. But tomorrow, catch us live for yet another episode of Croissants.